Greetings all, I pray all is well. You know, my message is always changing the vibration of this planet with love. And what conversations can we have to assist in this process? So, I've been on this thing about emotions for a minute, which I'm not going to stop because they're telling me it's very important. But this one, not yesterday because I didn't do it yesterday. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but, got tied up. But the conversation was when, at the end of the last video that I did, I said something about there's a process you go through spiritually, right? But they wanted me to express it in another way. Like, I want to say spiritual bypassing, but in order to gain enlightenment, you have to go through certain steps. There's certain navigational steps that you go through to recognize, so that your mindset, your spirit can handle the information that you gain, right? It's like, once I got initiated to Ifa, right, and watched the processes that people went through and did, I realized that most people don't do the work on themselves before they go through initiation, right? They're looking for a certain thing to make them feel a certain way, so they want to have this initiation. There's a lot of egoic understanding or lack of understanding as to why a lot of people go through. So most of the times when it comes to that space, it's like given the guidance of first work on yourself, work on your shadows, work on the things that you like, you dislike, you know what I mean? Work on you, because when you don't work on you, those energies are going to come back even 10 times stronger in order for you to work on. You cannot dismiss certain processes in your journey in life to gain a status without going through the necessary steps to accommodate that wisdom. So that's why I say that a lot of people need to work on themselves. Yes, be on the road to initiation and do initiation, but if you're not doing that inner work, it's going to come back later on. And this is the problem that people have when they start to look at Ifa or any spiritual organizational space that, it don't work, because they was using these tools, or they was using these oracles, or this information, this wisdom, should I say, to move or counteract things that are going on in their life, so they didn't have to deal with, you know what I mean? We see it when folks think that they can just automatically always have charms or almost have certain things so they don't get messed up by police and stuff like that, thinking that's the only way. But it's like, come on now, you got to do the work not to do it, you know what I mean? But anyway, so they were saying that there is processes that you have to go through, and it's the same when it comes to any kind of spiritual elevation. You cannot bypass certain information without messing yourself up. And that's the problem that a lot of people have. They gain so much knowledge and so much wisdom, but don't have the consciousness or the gained wisdom or the gained knowledge that they've gone through to be able to house this next level of consciousness, this enlightened space. So if you don't go through the steps, you're going to crash. And when you crash, it's going to make you try and think about your whole existence, as in, like, what am I doing? Am I doing this wrong? Am I in the wrong spot? Am I doing this thing? Because if you're not recognizing the things within you, and like I said, that's why I go back to emotions. I realize emotions are so much a part of humanity's problems and solutions. Because when you can articulate and when you can understand how you're feeling and you express it, that's communication. And when you can communicate effectively, then another person can communicate effectively, because then you know what the issue is without it being such a problem. You know what I mean? You know. But when you don't articulate yourself well, and you bypass steps that you are supposed to take, because these gradual steps, even when it's just understanding how to work with other people, because power that you gain from initiation, or wisdom that you gain through initiation, because it is an elevation and your life is no longer the same, right? That information, that wisdom that you gain is it does something to your makeup, it does something to your, it's something that integrates into you. But if you don't have it's like, I don't know how to put it. Let me try and give you an analogy. It's like trying to be a doctor with only a CNA certificate, right? You want to practice surgery and stuff like that, and you don't have all the tools and all the knowledge to be able to do it. You may really sincerely want to be that, and you have the heart to want to be that, but if you don't have the necessary wisdom or knowledge that took you from one space to the next, because all those little things, all those little pieces of information gain a space to assist in that enlightenment space. So again, like I said, you cannot bypass situations or spiritual situations in order to gain without the necessary steps that you take. And that's one of the problems that we have as spiritual people, you know, on this journey, because people want the power, the people want the knowledge to be able to manipulate and control and this, that, and the other, but lack the spiritual integrity that is necessary to be able to ascend and assist people in their ascension. That's why you have so many problems with, you know, spiritual leaders that, you know, may have certain knowledge but lack integrity to assist others to gain that knowledge. And then you have, you know, the problems that we have in this space. So they're saying that you can't I don't know why that came in mind. You can't hurry love. No, you can't hurry consciousness. You can't hurry wisdom to take you into a space of enlightenment without going through some processes. It's an order. And when you feel that you can, to the point where, you know what, I remember listening to some video, and they were saying that the Lyrans, that whole, and I'm paraphrasing because, you know, I get a lot of information, right? And so they were saying that they thought that because they was an advanced civilization, you know what I mean, they basically didn't go through cacamania that we was going through, right? But because they were so advanced, they thought that they could, with technology, they could bypass certain things that their people wouldn't have to suffer. Their people wouldn't have to, or their being, should I say, wouldn't have to go through suffering. So they had this technology that would avoid certain things, but they didn't realize that avoidance gave way to an imbalance of information and a flow, because there's an energy, there's a flow with everything. When you get to know certain things, when you master something, there's a flow from being a novice to you know what I mean, a master. There's a flow of information that comes in order for you to gain that wisdom. So when you miss certain steps, you it's like you leave a gap, and that gap causes an imbalance, which causes things to crash. So henceforth, that's what happened with the Lyrans, I think. You know, that imbalance caused a space where, you know what I mean, whole timelines were dismissed and gone, and you know what I mean, and the ripple effect had effects on other civilizations that didn't even have anything to do with it, but yet because that timeline or that space had been affected due to the lack of information that was there, it messed people up. It messed that whole civilization up, right? So I say all that to say, you can't rush a process. You have to work through it and understand it so you can integrate that information as much as you can in order to gain the enlightenment you need in order to move on to ascend. Because without that, you'll keep coming back. And it's all by design. You know what I mean? You look at it like, oh, Eshu's tricking you and you ended up in. No, you making choices to try and eliminate steps that you're supposed to go through, instead of going through those steps because it's to gain that knowledge. Because you can look back at times and think, if I hadn't gone through that chaos, I wouldn't be equipped now to know what I know now to move through some things differently. So there's a process. So spiritual bypassing is not it's not effective when there's the wisdom that you're trying to bypass. Don't get me wrong, you can move through things quickly, but that's if your consciousness is developed enough to process those things quickly. You know what I mean? And integrate them. And so you're like, oh, I'm very aware of what I'm doing. And look, I'm trying to rush because it's the last piece. But anyway, we love you and we love me too. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Peace out.